we were looking at a lot of our data, and a lot of you know that we have a lot of kids going online. There's a lot of different online schools popping up all over the place. So we wanted to share the data with you real quick. At the top, we have just like our credit recovery numbers, our CBLS class numbers, our top, which is our Tiger Online already classes, Otero online classes, Otero on campus, where students go over to Otero just for those, and then concurrent where we teach those college classes that are on our campus, and then how many hybrid students there are. So that all those numbers there are the students within those groups. And then for TTA, we broke it down a little bit differently. So what we wanted to do is kind of share the numbers with each building. So when we're talking about loss, we wanted to look at how many kids did we lose through the year so far. And if you look at our building alone, we've had 106 students leave our campus. We have 21 that we lost to another public school. So they moved, those typically have moved to a different town, Denver, Springs, whatever, different states. And then we've lost 52 to online platforms. So Los Angeles Online, Roll Academy, those type of things, that's where that number comes in. And then 3, which was went back to their home country, and then we've had 22 that ended up transferred to TTA. So then when we go down and we look at TTA's numbers, they've had 36 so far that have left the district, 7 to another public school, 6 that transferred back to our building, and then we've had 23 that have enrolled in an online program outside of us. So when we add those together, we've lost 75 students to online schooling. So what we would like to do is open a conversation on possibly having our own online campus here in Otero. We do already have Tigers Online. It's already approved by the state. It's already up and running. Mr. McDermott used to run that years ago before we had Tiger Training Academy. So that program is already there. It is available to use, so it's not anything with the state reps that we would have to go in and revamp or post to there. It's something that's already there. So what we're asking is to really think about those 75 kids that are ours, that are now online with Los Angeles, Roll Academy, Chicago, whoever else, really taking a look at that 75 and what can we do to keep our kids here with us. A lot of them, because we did not have that option of strictly online, that's where they wanted to maybe work, do something different. It was outside of the realm of what we had to offer, even with TTA doing a hybrid online. So we wanted to share those numbers with you. Any questions on that?
So the Tiger Online, that's not operational? Or it is operational?
It is operational, yes, and it is cleared with the state.
But we're not using it?
You're not utilizing it as an online, like a fully online.
What are we talking about?
So for like
Night
kids
school?
take German, so like we still use Tiger Online for like kids who want to take German or something like that. We still use it for that.
So it's more of a hybrid option?
Well, right now it is. I mean, we don't have any kids that are strictly online all the time. So in my building, there are a set of kids, we call them hybrid kids. They'll do their cores online, and then they do their electives with on campus. And then I have my campus kids who do their whole day on campus.
And so those 4 months go to the Tiger Online?
Yeah, well, we didn't decide that. We would think that those hybrid kids might move to online. They might stay hybrid because they want to do the electives. What we're really trying to do here is offer another avenue for our kids.
A fully online option for those kids who don't want to be hybrid,
Correct.
who don't want to be in any kind of classroom.
Correct.
This is an option for them.
So that top that you see there for the high school, that's the 6. So we have a lot of kids that are very interested in like computer science of some type. I have them in there. So it might this 6 might be 6 different kids in 6 different classes, but it's the classes that you're not going to really find at Otero, where they're a freshman or sophomore. They can't go to Otero yet, but they want to go into that avenue. It just expands the opportunities for our kids, like starting as freshmen versus waiting until they get to be a junior to go to Otero or something. And computer science is huge. Our kids want that, and nursing. with this new platform, they can get into the nursery earlier and see, hey, is that the route we want to go? It gives them, our kids, more opportunities to see what they want to do.
Why did we steer away from it when we had it up and running? Was it just not as in high demand as it is now, or?
I don't think it's ever been like a full kit online. It's always been there to add those extras.
I think Kim could maybe get you kids to talk about that, because when we did have Tigers Online, what we like to talk about, that was the night school, is what we called it at the time.
See, I knew what I was talking about.
It was currently
I'm
night school,
dating
but
myself a little bit, but that's what we called it, night school.
When I ran it up at the high school level, that was more of credit recovery style of thing. But we did offer, like Shauna was saying, and I recall kids taking like Mandarin and just languages that we didn't offer. And so there was just a lot more avenues for them to take when we used the top program. But I think the reason, not that it went away, I think the big reason that top is not as big as it used to be is because that's when we created Tiger Trade Academy. And so top is still in existence, but we do use a lot of that for extra classes, credit recovery, and things of that nature.
So when we lose those 75 kids, we lose that funding, right?
Right, you do that.
Yeah. So we got them back with Tigers Online, we get the funding back.
I will tell you the funding for an online kid is less than a campus kid, but some is better than none.
Right.
This might seem like a silly question, but I'll ask it anyway. I always ask when
I
a
love silly
teacher leaves our district, did we do an exit interview? When a child leaves our district, do we give them any kind of exit as to why they left or what they're happy with that they couldn't find within our district, so that way we can try to make it all inclusive at our campus? Do we do any of those type of questionnaires, or?
Yes, so Ms. Romero, she put together like an interview somewhat, maybe when we out there.
Yeah, so when they transfer between, a lot of this usually comes up when attendance becomes a problem. They want to go online because it's easier. There's less control. Those are some of the words that some of my kids that I've talked with have used. They like that they have the ability to do classes when it fits their schedule. Some of the kids are working. Some of them are helping care for their families, things like that. They're not available to be in the classroom setting all day, every day. How many of that really? I can't put a number off the top of my head. Sorry, I was not sure if that was going to speak, but a lot of the kids, that's some of the things that we're seeing when they choose to go hybrid at TTA, and then that becomes that they want to go fully online. That's not necessarily an option. We don't have that right now. Well, then I'm going to go to Los Angeles online, or I'm going to go to Gold because that fits my needs a little bit better. A formal interview or exit type thing, I don't think we have that. A lot of some of the situations that I've been in, it's been in a very quick turnaround. You bring up questions, you bring up what's going on. Next thing you know, I'm getting a notification that they have enrolled in another district. So to do a true formal exit, I've not been able to do those with many of my kids. It's more through conversations.
So one is, like she was saying, attendance, but we do have a lot of social. We do have some that are recommended now from some doctor's offices, so they're online. So we somewhat have the gamut. And then there's other kids who do have a work schedule, they would rather be working and then they would do the online effort.
Add to that, COVID was really hard for most of us, but some kids fell in love with it. They like the idea that they can do their math in their pajamas. You know what I mean? I mean, they like that flexibility. And I think that there are online places that are offering that more than we are.
What do we need to facilitate this? Is it going to be in a night school setting where they come non-traditional hours, or is this something they actually do from home on their own and we just kind of monitor progress?
So we have a district license for Edgenuity, which is what we use for our platform. So the idea is that they would do that from home on Edgenuity with teacher support. So to facilitate it, it's going to take some moving people around, maybe and some hiring people, but we already have the main things in line. We already have a school that the state's given us a license for, Tiger Online, not a license, a number for, it's not a license. And we already have that school in place. We have the place to do it, which is upstairs at TTA. So we need to man it. And then we already have the platform. We already have the Edgenuity platform, which is the same thing that Goal's using. It's the same thing that LA Online's using. So we have the place, we have the platform, we need the manpower, and the kids in the seats. And I think we can get those kids in the seats.
In talking with some of the online too, the big thing is going to be communication. So when he's talking about manning it, really having people who are open phone calls, connecting with kids, creating those relationships, really getting in there to make sure that they are being clear, they need to get those credits. And a lot of times when they're online, it's just having that sometimes a Zoom and or a phone call. So really making sure we hone in on those practices.
And so like my hybrids kids, they operate on a check-in Zoom once or twice a day, depending on their schedule. And that's an actual Zoom with the teacher. And we would expand that to where we would expect them to log in at some point of the day and talk to a teacher. So.
How many teachers do you see?
There you go. Talk about that. Just as we haven't gone further than this, but I think that 2 general teachers, an administrator, and a secretary. So, I mean, that's about what we need to man it. I'm thinking 100 kids for the first year. That's 50 kids for each teacher. I'd like to have the general teachers, and then if we expand that, I'd like to go, if we expand this and it works, then we would go core teachers. But what I'd like to start with is a general teacher that would do would launch them through their entire core.
So it'd be four new positions. 4 new positions.
4 new positions. Correct.
Now, this isn't to replace what we're already doing at TTA.
No,
This is to capture those secondary students who want a fully online option.
This is really just to capture it. I mean, really just to capture some of those kids that we lost and maybe gain a few. I don't think we want in the first year to offer it for everybody, but if we get an out of district kid, we would approach it the same way we would approach an out of district kid that came to Jensburg.
How much lead time do you need to make this happen?
Well, we're talking to you today. We'd like to have it going by school year.
Is that realistic?
I think it's realistic. I think we can turn the juice on and get it going. But we'll have to really get going on it. I think if we want to continue this and you guys are open to this conversation with the next board meeting, I think we would present some more hard data, for lack of a better term.
Just to throw my 2 cents, I know, especially Jen and Ken have been really thoughtful about how we could unroll this and how we could be successful. I know we had a lot of conversations about how some of these schools that have come on during that COVID time to offer these online programs were shiny and new, but they lacked the logistical support needed to really support all the kids that they had. So I think there were a lot of individuals that kind of jumped ship from regular brick and mortar schools to these online systems, and then they had some struggles down the road. And so we had a lot of those conversations. I kind of had known one of the principals from LA Online from my childhood education, and so we kind of started talking with some of these different schools and districts to see what they're doing to be successful. When I looked at some of the numbers, it seemed like LA Online struggled at the first couple of years really trying to get things off and running, and right now it seems like LA Online is pulling a lot of numbers from a lot of different districts, and they're doing a lot of really successful things. And so trying to do as much as we can, looking at the numbers we have here and the kids that we can pull in here, but also meet with some of these other leaders of these successful programs and see how they're doing it. That's one thing that we really talked about, was just that logistical need of what our numbers are going to look like. We're hoping it's going to grow. I anticipated that it's going to start small and grow, but I can't say that we've had a lot of conversations of how we can do it as strategic as possible so that we have less frustration at the beginning. I don't think I think we'll have a little bit, but I think having some of those meetings with those other districts and schools will help us out with that.
So
Do we know
I would
the-
add,
Go ahead.
I would just add, kind of tail off of that. We get kids back to graduate plans. And sometimes those kids, we would be more in control of those kids' graduation plan than trying to fold in goal or LAs into our graduation plan. So we would keep the same graduation plan for these kids as we do for TTA or for the high school. I think that we would have a little more control of that. I don't know if that's a good word, but we would at least.
I think keeping the alignment the same within our district with whichever platform we get, because again, just like you were alluded to, oftentimes the kids that we do lose are because of truancy. And they'll go to somewhere else and then they get there and then we say, no, we want to come back. Well, now they're back at us and we're sometimes a grade behind or a grade and a half behind. So I think with an alignment here, if we have kids that want to fluctuate from online to back to the brick and mortar, we'll still have that alignment and still be within the grade level that they should be. And we wouldn't have that struggle of trying to catch them up and doubling them up on credit recovery and things of that nature. So that's just my 2 cents.
So we're
Said it better
talking
than me.
freshman through senior is our target window, not any younger than that, or?
You have to close it out, like right now, how many do you have total online?
Totally online? I mean, I've got 4 kids who are homebound. But those are different, homebound are different from us. So, but my high grade kids are 34. So I have 34 kids who are doing the core at home and they're elective.
We do have people.
We do.
I think with capturing the junior high earlier, you take less risk of losing them early. So like, we let that 7th or 8th grader not do it, well, you could already lose them to Los Angeles online and you're not going to get them back obviously.
So we're
We
talking.
couldn't go lower than 7. We can't really go lower than 7.
Yeah, so we're talking just the junior, senior high building as a whole, 7 through 12.
Do we know what funding looks like for those online kids?
We don't at this point, but that would also be something that we would look at and have to put into this budget if we were starting it, let's say in August.
So then for the.
Like Ken said, it is less for online.
So then
And depending on how many we have. that we would consider.
our overhead cost essentially for the online program is essentially just the staffing.
Correct, yeah, the building's there, we're gonna have that platform anyway, whether I have 10 kids in that platform or 300 kids in that platform. that
And we're
platform can
already.
be. And we're gonna, that's next one.
How does this, Jared, this is probably your question, how does this fit into the scope of what we're trying to do with our district? Because we are going through such an overhaul, basically from the primary all the way up. Are these kids going to take state testing?
Yeah. They would
So
take-
if we get 300 new children in a program that they come in and maybe they're the children that don't go the regular school route and their scores start to drag down our entire district, how does this fit into our plan of what we're trying to accomplish right now? Because we're on turnaround here at this building, but we're on watch as the whole district, isn't that correct?
Yeah.
Can I help that just a little bit?
Sure.
This would be considered an AEC. That gives us a little bit of.
Wait, what is? Break it down for us, Ken.
So it's, AEC is Alternative Education Campus.
Okay,
So what a TTA is in AEC. So I get a little bit of leeway on state testing. I don't get thrown into the bad frameworks. I'm put on watch. I get a little bit of leeway, not a lot, but I do get a little bit. So instead of having 3 things, I get 4 things to look at. And you guys have seen my framework, so you know how that goes. So this would be an AEC. We get a little bit of leeway on the state testing. And so that's just, that'll help you out a little bit. It's not perfect. They still expect them to test.
And
But
we
they
are-
don't bring the hammer down near as fast on an AEC.
But we are in fact trying to get TTA on a proper testing schedule to have
Yeah.
results that we can look at.
We're trying.
Then we can compare them to what we're trying to structure within the district, so we are all on the same page and get everybody off of watch. Is that what I'm understanding we're trying to do?
Yep.
So just for the next meeting, I'd be very interested, I think it's a great idea to try to capture those out of network students that don't want to go to a traditional classroom. It's good thinking. I'd be very interested to see how we can tie it in to this overhaul we're already doing as a whole. I mean, if we're going to do it, let's do it. But I think if we can pitch it to other communities, maybe those people going to Los Animas maybe want to come to Lana instead.
Just to kind of circle back to that question with how it would affect test scores and things like that. Right, I think it could have a super great benefit and it could have a negative impact to it. I think that's where we kind of as educational leaders have to look at the data and see what's going on. I mean, if we have 300 kids flood this program and we're looking at their test scores and it's tanking us, then we have to look logistically at what our systems are there and whether we have to fix it or not. I mean, it still seems like our goal is to really educate all the kids in this area and support them. You know, our goal, I don't think right now, is to pull a bunch of kids from Denver to join. It's still to support our kids here. And part of this conversation was to get it out to the community to say, is this something that Bahama really wants? We see a niche we think could help. Could this do it? And so as we start to increase these numbers, I see it just like that same way where, you know, it makes me feel uneasy that it's adding some choppiness to the water, but if it's a need for our kids and a need for our family, then we need to find the best way we can do it, be most effective at it, and then collect data and see what we need to change from there. You know, and right now every school is working on these 90-day plans that are looking at strategically what you're doing on a day-to-day basis and progress monitoring it, and I don't see this system as anything different. We add it, we hope we can support the needs of everybody in the, you know, in the area, and then collect data on it and see how we can be effective at it.
So essentially, we would just roll this program into things we're already doing and expect the same. I mean, everybody is going through a systemic change right now. There's no reason to not include them and get them on the same path.
Yes.
Okay.
And I think one thing like Ken was saying, the 75 are students. So really looking at in-district first, this first year, just doing in-district. That way we're not doing like you said, taking over some of the outside pieces. Right now, we're doing just in-district.
Yeah. And we need to learn it. I mean, that's a good way to,
That makes sense.
by the best way.
Well, we haven't been able to essentially establish any testing data yet at TTA, so
Yeah.
we're still trying to work that piece.
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah, I still have a lot of opt-outs, and so I will still probably, I'm thinking right now my frameworks will be insufficient out this year.
Okay. If we do get this up and running and we have more of the same, I think opt-outs, that's something you see a lot of. That also affects us quite a bit. Okay.
You know, and please know that we realize that there's a lot of logistics we got to look at. I mean, I even think about Dakota on the technology side, on making sure that we can, you know, we have the wireless capabilities, we have all the technology. So there's a lot of that. It's just kind of trying to get the ball rolling to see if it's a need.
I think our count day stuff as well is a little bit different as far as what they look at as far as typically it's 10 days before and after, but online I think it's a bit differently. We have to look at the hours and meetings, and that's some logistical piece that we'll have to take a look at as well. But
And on the other piece of this, Mrs. Franco, I understand that it's not just some of the struggling students. It could be any student that wants to take any additional anything.
Yeah.
Now have that opportunity at their fingertips.
Yeah, so it just
Okay.
gives them extra pathways to go.
So it's double-sided. It benefits everybody. Okay.
So that kind of leads us into our next little piece that we're going to talk about. We talked about eDynamics a little bit before, and then the question came is why do we need eDynamics if we have Edgeability?
Can you explain eDynamics for me, please?
Yes, so let me go through this to
Okay.
get to there.
Okay.
So when we're looking at our graduation pathways, we do have the two different pathways that we have across the district. And then going through there, each student has to complete a capstone. So if you flip over to the next page, this is the college and career readiness demonstrations that the state of Colorado has put out there. So they have to have an assessment score, concurrent enrollment, if the English or a math class that's passed with a C or better does count as that assessment score, and or they have to have an industry certificate, and or they have to do a district capstone. We put together a great presentation with the capstone, and Shauna has all of that ready to go. Our kids do go ahead and complete that. But if we go back up to the industry certificates, that's where eDynamics comes in. So with Edgenuity, kids can print out a certificate to say they completed the course. What eDynamics does is it gives an industry certificate. So if we had a kiddo who was wanting to go in for Microsoft Office, let's say, they could complete the eDynamics course, take the industry certificate, and receive that certificate of completion. So now that they have an industry certification. That's where this eDynamics comes into play. The other thing of why we like eDynamics is once a kiddo completes that course, they take that industry test, that certification test. If they do not pass it, eDynamics will pay for that student to take that course again. That's how much they believe in the program. So in going through there, what we wanted to do was this next page is the district ICAP process / capstone. That's just all of the different things that Shauna talks to the kids about going all the way through there. And then if we want to go to the next one here, this is where we're talking about the quality and in-demand non-degree credential rubric. So really looking at those, instead of a student having to take a college credit to receive an industry certificate, they can go through eDynamics, take a course that they're interested in, take the certification test. If passed, then they have the industry certificate. So then once they go out into the job site, now that gives them a leg up on those who do not have the industry certificate, and it counts as on our pathway of completion.
And the nice thing about eDynamics, we have a lot of kids that think they want to go into the nursing field. eDynamics will allow these kids as freshmen and sophomore to take some pre-nursing stuff to see if it's what they really want before we send them over to Otero their junior and senior year and they get into the nursing thing and they're like, oh no. So this gives our kids like a prerequisite of, hey, I think I want nursing, but they can take that pre-class and it may not be. So it really helps them explore all the different pathways that they want. And cybersecurity and game design are huge, and that's one of the main ones that eDynamics has.
And some of the difference between my certificate and industry certificate, the industry certificate, the state will give us some cash back. I don't know how much, because that's
It depends on how many in the
kids
state
in the state take it, just one pile of money, and just divvy it out. So we get some of that money back. How much is just at the end of the year where there was 2,000 kids in it, and they just divvy it out that way. Per student, there's the word I was looking for.
But then you could also use this new certificate, the industry recognized one, on a job application
Yes.
as actually
Yes.
having,
Yes.
okay.
So this would be like a certified HVAC technician?
Yes. Different.
So reading this, really, we could have kids getting their CNA while they're in high school.
We already have kids doing that through Otero,
Through Otero.
but this gives them the upper hand of, as a freshman, they could start the medical terminology and all that and go this way and then transfer into Otero. But you could get somebody to do cybersecurity. Cybersecurity is huge. It's getting bigger and bigger. They could do it all on eDynamics.
So it's building their background knowledge before they actually get to the concurrent and or college campus.
And these classes would fall in line with these prereqs, or would they be considered electives?
Most of them would be electives.
Just more information at their fingertips earlier if they want it, it's there?
Yes.
Okay.
About 300 different avenues, correct?
There's a lot of different.
Yeah.
So what we did is this next page is the seated certifications of what Ken was talking about. So this is what the state says, different certification routes that kids can go. This is a whole big listing. And then the next page is the eDynamics. So within here, these are the ones that they have tied, and the list is getting bigger. So these are the ones that eDynamics has that actually are with the state already.
eDynamics will not replace Edgenuity.
No, you need both. eDynamics is more your CTE and your electives, where Edgenuity has
It's
everything
more
plus
core.
your core.
Okay. What is the cost of this?
Okay, so we.
Sorry, is that?
We didn't want to overwhelm you tonight, but at the same time, wanted to give you all the information. So Ken and I we talked with one person from eDynamics, and then they got their Salesforce in. Right now, what we're doing for next year is we can have unlimited full access to the junior high library, to the CTE electives, and then the high school electives. So with that, it's like $27,000. What we'd like to do is pilot it for next year, see how it goes, see how many kids are actually taking the classes. Do we need a full online access? Do we need all of the junior high electives? Do we need the high school electives? We know we want the CTE route for sure. So the question is kind of how we do those other ones because the cost is so low this year, and then see what we truly want and need, going off of what the kids, their needs and interests are. So there was a $40,000 bid, but then when we had the conversation about being able to use it, getting to know it, it's like it's right at under 27,000.
Per year,
For the first year.
for the first year. And if it's great, it's 40.
Well, it depends on what
okay.
we decide we actually want. If we
It'll
want the
probably
whole-
be tailored to our needs then?
Yep.
And that would still be with the unlimited or would be
Well, it
certain
depends on what
patches?
you pick.
And then if we looked at it and we go, we only had so many kids, then we could go a different route. I mean, the unlimited thing is nice, we put as many kids in as we want, and they can retake stuff. Or if we look at next year, if we say, oh, we only have this many kids, and we can do it first year.
So my concern as mom then, who is going to be recruiting these kids to partake in these wonderful electives that we are now able to
MPD.
freely spread? Because do we have a GT program at the junior senior high? This would work hand in hand with that. This is great.
Well, not just necessarily GT, this would be any kid that maybe they just aren't the regular learner, but they want that hands-on, like, go out into the world, not college stuff. Like, kids could walk out of high school with these certificates and get a job. So it's not just your GT kids, it is everybody.
The thing about it really like it too, especially at Ken's building, thinking about Tiger trades, and knowing that we do need to have more CTE in place for our kiddos there. This would be an avenue where kids can really get into what it is that they want to get in, what their interests are. They would know right away if they wanted to go a certain path. So it really opens it up for our all students, like Shawna is saying, but then really helps out TTA as well.
These are all online classes. Do they do these online classes on campus, or do they do them at home?
They could, so we would have to discuss that on if we were going to do that with the online program, or if we were just going to do it on campus.
But the nice thing about it, even if you didn't have a kid that was doing everything online, you could have that one kid that says, I really want to go into cybersecurity, but I still want to take my high-level maths and stuff at school. We could still offer them this class. Kind of like what we're doing with this talk, just a higher level of learning through eDynamics.
I think we could open up our electives a little bit to where 4 or 5 different things can be going on in one classroom too. So one elective class, but you might have a kid in Microsoft and you might have another kid in medical assistant.
Do we have the staff to competently answer any questions in these very varied fields?
So my understanding when we talked to the lady, everything is given to the teachers. So there is a library for the teachers, so say I went in there and taught something I didn't know anything about. It's all there that you can research and help your kids.
So it doesn't have to be.
It's like the
one-
curriculum's right there.
One designated special professional who knows this and one over, it can
No.
just be a blanket, you get the resources you need?
What other districts are using this?
I do know that Rocky Ford is trying to get it, because when I went to the CTE meetings, they are really trying hard to get it, and so is Sherrock.
I had a conversation in the last superintendent meeting where it was kind of introduced to see what districts were contemplating using it, and I think that's a discussion that we're going back to visit my superintendents, kind of see who all is interested, to see if whether this could be at a district level, or maybe if there's enough interest that it could potentially be at like a BOCES level. And so I know that's up in the air right now for discussion as well.
I like the innovative thinking going on. I really appreciate the legwork you guys put into this and trying to be inclusive to all of our students, no matter where they are. I would also like to know how this fits into the framework that we're trying to develop. I think it's good thoughts. Looks good, sounds good. I would be happy to have that at our schools.
I concur.
You guys probably weren't ready for all those questions, so sorry about that.
No, we were prepared for 100 more questions. That's what we do for a living.
So more to come then on that?
Hopefully next month.
Both items? Okay.
So we do have the votes. We do have the vote for eDynamics now. We have to decide on that by, Jill, was it June 30?
June 30, yes.
And if we go beyond that, that 27 is out the window and it goes to that 41.
Okay, so can we just plan to have that at our next meeting? Will that be enough time?
And I think we can get together on some data for the other piece too, what the personnel will cost.
That would be timely.
Well, thank you guys.
Good
I
job.
appreciate it very much.